This is one of the most baffling disappearances in American law enforcement history. A district attorney, 20 years prosecuting murderers, 8 months from retirement. He told his girlfriend he was taking a drive on a beautiful spring afternoon. 12 hours later, he didn't come home. By morning, his car was found abandoned 50 miles away, near a river. Inside, cigarette ash on the passenger seat. But Ray Gricar never smoked. His laptop would be pulled from that river 3 months later, the hard drive deliberately destroyed. Ray himself, never found. Almost 20 years have passed. His daughter is still waiting for answers. This is the story of Ray Gricar, the prosecutor who vanished without a trace, and the haunting clues that lead nowhere. To understand why this disappearance shook central Pennsylvania, you need to know who Ray was. Born in Cleveland in 1945, Ray worked his way through law school at Case Western Reserve University. Quiet, intelligent, a man with a dry wit and an unshakable work ethic. He moved to State College, Pennsylvania in 1980, and 5 years later, voters elected him district attorney of Center County. He held that position for 20 years, 4 re-elections. That doesn't happen unless people trust you. Bob Buhner, a fellow DA and close friend, said it plainly. He was the most serious prosecutor I've ever met, the most ethical guy. Ray specialized in homicides. He prosecuted the woman who shot up Penn State Student Union in 1996. He handled complex cases that required meticulous attention to detail. Anthony DeBerf, his assistant DA for 5 years, remembered this about him. No one got a buy with Ray. But Ray's life wasn't just courtrooms. He had an adopted daughter, Lara, from his first marriage. By 2005, she was 27, living in Washington, D.C., building her own career. Father and daughter were extremely close. They hiked together, talked regularly. DeBerf later said, he was extremely close to his family, in particular his daughter. The fact that he had not communicated with her after he disappeared seemed very, very odd. After 2 divorces, Ray found stability with Patty Fornicola, who worked in his office. They'd lived together for a few years in her childhood home in Belafonte. Friends said they were happy, looking forward to what came next. And what came next was supposed to be freedom. In 2004, Ray announced he wouldn't seek re-election. He'd retire in December 2005, right after his 60th birthday. He talked about traveling, finally having time for himself. Everything pointed to a man ready for a new chapter. So what happened on April 15th that turned a respected prosecutor into one of Pennsylvania's most puzzling unsolved cases? Friday morning. Ray told Patty he was skipping work to take a drive. The weather was perfect, warm, clear. One of those first real spring days after a long winter. At 11:30 a.m., Ray called. He was driving through Brush Valley toward Lewisburg on Route 192. Lewisburg was about 50 miles east, a small town with an antique mall Ray liked to browse. It was a casual call. Nothing seemed off. That was the last time anyone who knew Ray heard his voice. When he didn't come home that evening, Patty started to worry. Ray was predictable, reliable. He didn't stay out all night without calling. By late that night, she reported him missing. The next morning, a state trooper found Ray's car in Lewisburg, parked in a dirt lot across from the Street of Shops Antique Mall, right near the Susquehanna River. The car was locked. Ray's county cell phone sat inside, powered off, but Ray was gone, and there were immediate problems. The car reeked of cigarette smoke. Cigarette ashes covered the passenger side floor. Ray Gricar didn't smoke. People who knew him said he hated cigarettes, never allowed anyone to smoke in his car. So, who had been in that passenger seat? 3 things were missing: Ray's laptop, his keys, his wallet. The cell phone was there, deliberately turned off. Police canvassed the area. Witnesses came forward with something that would haunt investigators for years. Multiple people saw a man matching Ray's description at the antique mall that day. But he wasn't alone. He was with a woman, dark-haired, unidentified, browsing the store. Nothing suspicious. Investigators never figured out who she was. Patty didn't recognize her. Ray's family had no idea. Police chased every lead. The mystery woman vanished just like Ray. Another witness saw Ray sitting in his car near the Packwood House Museum, pacing back and forth, then getting back in, like he was waiting for someone. The last confirmed sighting placed him parking at 5:30 p.m. After that, nothing. Search teams descended. Divers hit the Susquehanna River. Helicopters swept overhead. The FBI arrived within a week. They found nothing. No clothing, no personal items, no sign of Ray anywhere. Then, 3 months later, in July 2005, fishermen discovered something in the river, Ray's laptop. But the hard drive had been removed. The laptop was water damaged, but intact enough to see. Someone had physically taken out the hard drive. This wasn't an accident. Months later, in October, the hard drive turned up separately on the riverbank. By then, it was destroyed. Multiple forensic labs tried. The FBI, a private firm that had recovered data from the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. Nothing could be salvaged. Whatever was on that hard drive was gone forever. Then investigators checked the computer Ray shared with Patty at home. In the search history, queries made shortly before he disappeared. How to wreck a hard drive. How to fry a hard drive. Water damage to a notebook computer. Someone had researched exactly how to destroy a hard drive beyond recovery. Patty told police Ray had mentioned wanting to wipe his work laptop before returning it at retirement. That seemed reasonable, but was that all this was? Or had Ray been planning something else? This question haunts everyone who's tried to solve this case. Because every piece of evidence seems to point in a different direction. The cigarette ash suggests someone else was there. The destroyed hard drive suggests something to hide. The location near the river mirrors his brother's suicide. But nothing quite adds up. Investigators, family, and true crime analysts have spent nearly 20 years debating what really happened. And they've settled on 3 main theories. Each one is possible. None of them can be proven. Theory 1. Suicide. This one haunted the family for a specific reason. 9 years earlier, in May 1996, Ray's older brother Roy disappeared. He told his wife he was going out to buy mulch, never came home. Days later, his car was found near a park in Dayton, Ohio, by a bridge crossing the Great Miami River. Roy's body was pulled from that river, ruled a suicide. He'd struggled with depression for years. Ray had been devastated. Now Ray's car sat parked near a park, by a bridge, overlooking a river. Ray's nephew Tony said this. To say it was an eerie parallel would be the understatement of the century. It was the exact same thing. Search conditions were good. If Ray went into the Susquehanna, his body should have been found. It wasn't. Which raises a disturbing question. If Ray followed his brother into that river, where is his body? The Susquehanna was searched extensively. Divers found his laptop. They found the hard drive months later, but they never found Ray. And that's what makes the suicide theory so hard to accept. Some thought Ray might have been depressed, that 20 years of prosecuting horrific crimes had broken him. A few people said he seemed tired in the days before, but his friends pushed back hard. Bob Buhner said, there was no way he was remotely suicidal in 2005. Ray was making plans, looking forward to retirement, talking about traveling, and there was Lara. Would Ray really abandon his daughter without explanation? Would he put her through the same agony his brother's suicide had caused? 3 days after Ray disappeared, Lara stood before cameras, voice breaking. "I want more than anything to hear your voice and for you to hug me. Maybe we can go for a hike. Go hike up a mountain and sit and talk. Please call." Years later, Lara said this. "My heart always jumps when I get a phone call from someone involved in the case, hoping this time there will be answers." Theory 2. He walked away. Some believe Ray chose to disappear. There were whispers he'd expressed interest in a Cleveland police chief who vanished to start a new life. Ray spoke semi-fluent Russian, fluent Slovenian, had relatives in Slovenia. He'd traveled there before. After he disappeared, sightings poured in. A man matching his description in a Wilkes-Barre bar watching baseball. Both the bartender and an off-duty cop claimed it was him. Another in Texas. Another photographed at a restaurant. In July 2011, a man in Utah was detained for 3 weeks, refusing to give his name. He looked strikingly like Ray. For a moment, people thought they'd found him. DNA proved otherwise. Ray had the resources, roughly $100,000 in savings, smart enough to plan it meticulously, except his money was never touched. Not a single withdrawal after April 15th. No credit card activity, no emails, no phone calls. If Ray was starting over, he did it with only what was in his wallet that day. And everyone who knew him said the same thing. Ray wouldn't do this to his family, wouldn't put them through this pain. Theory 3. Someone killed him. 20 years prosecuting dangerous criminals makes enemies. Former police officer Daryl Zakani said this. Who knows who got out of jail 20 years ago who's still holding a grudge against Ray? Then there's the cigarette smoke. If Ray hated smoking, who was in that passenger seat? The mystery woman? Was Ray meeting someone who meant him harm? And what about the laptop? If Ray planned suicide, why destroy the hard drive? If he was starting over, why not take it? Someone wanted something hidden. In 2011, when Penn State coach Jerry Sandusky was convicted of 40 counts of child sexual abuse, people looked back at Ray's career. In 1998, a mother reported her 11-year-old son was naked in a shower when Sandusky hugged him. The case landed on Ray's desk. Ray investigated, then declined to press charges, saying there wasn't enough evidence. 13 years later, Sandusky went to prison for life. When the scandal broke, some wondered, was there a connection? Had Ray known more? Was someone keeping him quiet? But investigators, including Ray's friends, found no link. Bob Buhner said, "I see absolutely no connection between Ray Gricar's disappearance and anything connected with Jerry Sandusky. Still, the timing haunts people. If someone murdered Ray, they left no trace, no body, no weapon, no witnesses, no confession, just cigarette ash and a destroyed hard drive." For 6 years, these theories circulated. Investigators chased leads that went nowhere. Sightings were reported and debunked. The mystery woman never came forward. Ray's family lived in limbo, not knowing if he was dead or alive, not knowing if they should grieve or keep hoping. Finally, in June 2011, Lara made a decision no daughter should ever have to make. She petitioned a judge to declare her father legally dead. Her lawyer explained, "This reflects recognition by the family that given the length of time and investigative work, it's likely Mr. Gricar is deceased, and it's time to close his affairs." On July 25, 2011, Judge David E. Grine declared Ray Gricar legally dead in absentia. It was a formality, a legal necessity, not closure. Lara still doesn't know what happened to her father. Pennsylvania State Police took over the investigation in 2014, treating this as an active missing persons case. There's still a $5,000 reward for information that could finally solve this mystery. But the leads dried up. The sightings stopped. The theories have been examined until they've become circular. Patty Fornicola has lived nearly 20 years without knowing what happened to the man she loved, who vanished after an ordinary phone call. Lara Gricar has spent 2 decades without her father, never getting to say goodbye, and people still drive past that antique mall in Lewisburg, still cross that bridge over the Susquehanna, and wonder what happened in those hours between when Ray parked his car and when he ceased to exist. April 15th, 2005, 11:30 a.m. Ray calls Patty. He's taking a drive. He reaches Lewisburg, maybe walks through an antique store, maybe meets an unidentified woman. He parks near the Susquehanna River around 5:30 p.m. Then he vanishes. His laptop ends up in the river, hard drive destroyed beyond recovery. His car smells like cigarettes, though he never smoked. His money sits untouched. His life never resumes. His family never hears from him again. Was it suicide, echoing his brother's death? Was it escape from a life he no longer wanted? Was it something darker? A grudge, a secret, a threat? We don't know. After nearly 20 years, we may never know. But somewhere, someone knows what happened in those final hours. Maybe it was Ray, making a choice that would shatter everyone who loved him. Maybe it was someone else who met him that day. Or maybe Ray Gricar is still out there, living under a different name, carrying the weight of the pain his absence caused. Ray Gricar drove to Lewisburg. He became the mystery, the man, the story, the truth, all of it gone.